Hi, my name is Dante. I play for the Houston Outlaws in the Overwatch League. I recently hit 4700 playing Echo, and I finished rank 1 on DPS and combined. This is my ultimate guide on how to play Echo. This video will be broken down into 7 different sections: Echo's abilities, burst combos, and cooldown usage, Echo's ultimate ability, duplicate, an Echo matchup guide, identifying a playstyle, positioning using map structure and pathing, Echo map guide, and frequently asked questions you may still have. Echo's abilities, burst combos, and cooldown usage. The primary fire is very versatile and can be used in a lot of different ways. You can spam chokes at range, poke out tanks, take duels, break shields, and a lot more. It excels in a lot of ways, and once you get more familiar with the projectile, it becomes a very good weapon. If you want to be as accurate as possible, make sure you tap primary fire every shot rather than holding it down. Sticky bombs are very versatile as well. In the beginning of fights, I like to use them to break shield and look for ult farm while the enemy is far. Then, as the fight breaks down, I like to look for flanks and one-hit combos as the fight happens. I find that sticky bombs are the easiest to stick when the other team isn't focused on you. As Echo, it is really important to set yourself up for easy combos. Try to be sneaky and unpredictable and catch the enemy off guard as much as possible. It is a lot easier to stick an enemy who isn't aware of you than it is when an enemy is focused on you trying to dodge your shots. Take advantage of that. Focusing beam is extremely strong when heroes are under half HP since it does 200 DPS, but is very weak if they are above half HP. I would recommend cancelling the beam if they're above 60% HP. Be very careful, because if they're getting healed at the same time, they might stay above half HP and you can waste a couple seconds beaming something that just won't take much damage. If you swipe your beam across all enemies, then you can see their HP, and that can help with your decision making on whether to swap targets, keep the same target, or cancel beam. A lot of times you have to put yourself in a risky position when using your focusing beam, so try to be careful when you use it. I think it's best to use the focusing beam just after you cast sticky bombs, as it will make for a ton of burst damage. Just because Echo has a flight cooldown doesn't mean you necessarily need to be in the air all the time. Take a look at the other team's comp and determine whether you should play in the air more or play on the ground and use it as a dash ability. You can use your flight to hit easier shots by flying into the enemy, flying up to the enemy from a hiding spot, flying past shields to surprise the enemy, and you can even use it as an escape. There are tons of ways you can use flight that you may not think of. After I fly into enemies, I like to fly straight up in the air, as it makes it a lot harder for them to hit you, and you can potentially go to high ground / over walls that'll help you stay alive. One secret tip that not many people know is that if you press your flight as you get EMP'd, you will keep your momentum and get sent flying in the air. The flight ability has a huge skill ceiling, and I would recommend watching any high tier Echo player to see how they use their flight to move around the map. Using Echo's ultimate ability, duplicate. Generally, copying heroes with some sort of invincibility or second life is ideal. Heroes like Winston and D.Va have a second life with their ult and make you basically unkillable if you play your cards right. Heroes like Reaper and Mei are also very good to copy, since you can build your ult really fast and you also have an invincibility cooldown. Any hero that gains HP shields or has a self-heal is very strong, as you'll farm your ult very fast and you have multiple ways to keep yourself up. The ideal copy. Don't just look at how much value you can get, look at how much value your team will get with a copy. When you're looking to copy, try to think, would I have fun playing this hero into their comp? What copy can my team benefit from the most? What is the most annoying for the other team? Do I need to copy Brig so I can help our backline with the Doom Tracer and Ball that keep diving us? Or do I need to copy Doom and try to kill as many as possible? On maps like 2CP offense, try to think about sustaining and keeping your team up instead of looking for kills yourself. If you get 3 kills and they get 3 kills, it doesn't matter and you're misplaying. You'll have a very hard time winning when your supports are getting traded in 2CP, because the enemy has a way closer respawn. The best play in that kind of situation is to copy Brig to keep your supports up and kill their divers. Can't always get the ideal copy because sometimes unexpected things happen. Their hit scan could surprise you on a flank, Their diva might surprise fly on you. You might stop getting healed. There's a lot of things that could force a copy early. If they force an early copy like that, it's not the end of the world. Just try to copy a hero where you won't instantly die. Staying alive is so important, and it'll force the other team to constantly be worried about you. If you copy diva, then a lot of the other team is going to be worried about you because you could do devastating damage if you're unchecked. Even if you don't directly find kills, this means that there's probably multiple people focusing you, and that opens a window for your team to gain an advantage during the fight. A lot of knowing the best copy target is game understanding and knowledge, and I'm going to do an in-depth copy guide sometime in the near future, so make sure you subscribe for that. Matchup guide. Generally, I think Echo is very good versus all the niche and silly picks in Overwatch. A tier. These are heroes I feel like Echo is the hardest to play against. They may not always eliminate you, but sometimes Echo can take a lot of resources to find value. Tracer, when paired with another hitscan such as Ashe, Widowmaker, McCree, and Soldier, is your worst nightmare on Echo. Tracer typically controls all the ground space on the map, and she's extremely good at close to mid-range. But why does this matter? Hitscans will normally force you out of the air, since you are an easy target out in the open. When a hitscan like Soldier is constantly poking you out of the air, a Tracer can secure a kill on the ground quite easily. B tier. These are the heroes I feel are hidden counters to Echo. They may not always eliminate you, but sometimes Echo can take a lot of resources to find value, so these heroes will be more likely to win a team fight, resulting in a loss. For example, Wrecking Ball will be very free if you have Mercy Echo, and will have an easy time going against your team since you'll have nobody to check him, since Echo isn't that great at checking ball. But if you had Brig Ana and maybe Kree, the ball would really struggle. When I got 4600 on Wrecking Ball, I felt like I could get away with almost anything when the other team had Mercy Echo. Support heroes such as Ana and Baptiste can pressure Echo while she's in the air just as much as a hitscan. The enemy support is constantly pressuring you while also healing their team. It can make Echo feel very difficult. Widowmaker can be hard to play against because she's a sniper, but I feel Echo has the advantage in this new patch. It's really easy to kill a 175 HP Widow, and if you're confident in the duel, you can win it often. Generally, when the enemy team has heroes such as Genji, Pharah, Orisa, Zen, Roadhog, Rein, Doomfist, and Brig, Echo will have the upper hand in a lot of the duels. If the heroes try to hold their position, they will typically lose 1v1s to Echo. If they give up their positions, then it helps your team gain better positions, and you are more likely to win the long fight. Identifying a playstyle. First thing you should do at the start of every map is press tab and look at your comp. You need to look at your supports and see how you need a position to get the best value. If you have a Mercy, you can play a little more freely because she will be by your side 80% of the time. When you have heroes like Zen, Ana, Brig, you have to try to play more passive and in your support's line of sight. Echo doesn't necessarily need a Mercy. Other hero combos can work well with Echo. I find it hard to play Echo with Lucio, Bap, and Moira, but it's still possible. You just have to play a style where you don't take very much damage. When you have dive tanks, you should try to look to follow up with your tank's damage since Echo is a great dive hero. If you have shield tanks, then you should try to help them when the other team pressures them, or look for flanks on the other team's backline. The second thing you should always do is press tab and look at the other team's comp. It's so important to always be thinking, how do I want to play this matchup? If the other team has a lot of D/F heroes, you should be pretty safe to play in the sky, and you'll get maximum value playing there. You can freely do damage on a lot of their heroes, which helps build your ult. Playing the slow game is very good versus a lot of these heroes. However, when the enemy team has a hitscan, you need to try to always be playing around the map structure so you can dodge their hitscan. Playing in the air is very dangerous versus hitscan, and you should only play in the air when you have the correct map structure to do so. Hitscan is really hard to play against as Echo, but it is your job to shut down the enemy team's DPS. If you choose to ignore the duel, keep in mind that their Ashe, or whatever hitscan they're playing, will be free shooting your team, and even though you're doing the same, I think it's more likely that hitscan will just do more, just because of the nature of hitscan in this game. Hitscan does a lot more consistent damage, so you really need to make sure that doesn't happen. You will need to take duels with the enemy team's hitscan, and I will go over how you can do that with an advantage in the pathing part of this guide. You need to play different versus every comp on every map, so always try to be thinking about this kind of stuff. While you're sitting in queue, you can always watch the last game in replay mode to see how you could play matchups better. Positioning, using map structure, and pathing. Positioning on Echo is extremely important since you have such a big hitbox and can be bursted down really easily. Echo is unique because she doesn't necessarily need to play in the sky. You can play on the ground and look for flanks a lot of times. At the beginning of fights when I'm retaking, I like to poke out the other team a little bit before I flank. Sometimes I do this in the air, sometimes I do this on the ground. It just depends on the map and the other team's comp. If you're poking versus hit scan, try to always be hugging a wall and jiggle peeking in the sky so you can use buildings/roofs to dodge shots. Poking is really good in the beginning of a fight, but as the fight breaks down, you need to look for a flank and try to take down the hit scan. It is really important that you try to close the distance before you do this. If you try to duel their hit scan at range, you will really struggle. Good hit scan players will always have an advantage if you do this. If you can reach their hit scan in a one flight cooldown and still use the leftover time on the flight to escape, you'll have an easier time doing this. I think it's a lot easier to show examples of this, so I will avoid talking and get straight into examples. Here are some good ways to path against hit scan spots that can feel really hard to play against.
Changing position. Deactivated. Lifting off.
Shit. What are you?
Focus my target. Focus with me. Moving up. In case you were wondering. Target down. Hey there. Update. Target destroyed. Changing position. Took a second. Working on. Adjusting angle of attack. Focus with me. Hi, mobility increased. Target destroyed. Moving up. Lock on my target. Eliminate inefficiency. Moving up. Burn down. Going to next target. Execute like maneuvers. Beam activated. Burning them down. Taking off. Mobility increased. Kill confirmed. Flight routine.
Map guide. This is a general map guide. I wouldn't live by this too hard, but this is just my opinion on the maps I think Echo is good on. Normally it depends on the other team's comp more than anything, but if you're just starting to learn Echo, then it might help by playing around these maps. There are a lot of things that make a good Echo map, but map structure is the most important. At S tier, I have Ilios, Eichenwald, and Temple of Anubis. I think what makes all these maps S tier is the map structure and how you can maneuver it with the flight ability. Very good maps for practicing movement and positioning with your flight. At A tier, I have Oasis, Numbani, and Rialto. I think all these maps are great for Echo, but they are also solid hit scan maps, so you have to be sure that you can shut down the other team's hit scan. At B tier, I have Hanamura, Nepal, Dorado, Hollywood, and Volskaya. I think these maps are solid as Echo, but not quite as good as the other tiers above. At C tier, I have Kings Row, Blizzard World, and Lijiang. I think these next maps get more difficult for Echo since there isn't much structure to play off and the maps are pretty open. I think if you're comfortable on Echo, these are still good maps, but if you're just learning, it might be hard going up against hitscan on these maps. At D and F tier, I have Gibraltar, Route 66, Havana, Junkertown, and Busan. The map structure isn't great for Echo. There's a lot of really open areas in the maps, and you just can't use cover that well. Makes it very hard to play against hitscan, and I wouldn't recommend doing it on these maps. Here are some frequently asked questions from Discord. On my guide videos, I'll have a 2-minute segment at the end where I try to answer as many questions about the hero I am reviewing. If you want your questions answered, make sure you comment any questions you may have and join my Discord so you can be a part of future videos like these. When is the best time to flank as Echo? I think the best time to flank as Echo is as the fight's boiling down, people kind of lose track on you, so you gotta look for flanks in those windows. The more you practice it, the more you'll be familiar with what I'm talking about, and I think it's a really good style to have as Echo. What are Echo's strengths and what comps / playstyles does she counter? I think she counters a lot of niche heroes like I said earlier in the video. I think she's very good against rush comps too. Any comp with Lucio Moira, she's really strong against. Tips for playing against a damage boosted Ashe. I think a damage boosted Ashe is very scary, so what I would recommend is try to flank and close the distance before you do anything. Make sure she doesn't know where you're coming from, and then try to shift on her, right click and E at the same time, and with that you should be able to have enough burst damage to one hit her. If she doesn't die, then I think you need to back up a little bit and charge your cooldowns again. What heroes does Echo have good chemistry with? I think Echo has good chemistry with any healers that have an easy time healing Echo, and I think any dive tanks are really good with Echo. With dupe, there are a lot of great characters to duplicate depending on the meta, but sometimes the good dupes are characters you're not good at. In that situation, would you copy a character you know how to play really well, even though they aren't traditionally a good choice, because you can get value out of them, or copy the good choice and try to get value even though it may not be comfortable? Typically, when a copy is really good, it's good because the hero's good into the other team's comp, so even if you're not comfortable, I would recommend doing that. For example, if the other team has Sombra Reaper, Winston Diva, Lucio Moira, it's going to be very hard to copy tanks. Even if tanks are your best hero, you're not going to do much against Sombra Reaper. You're going to have a very hard time playing against that. But if you copy Sombra, and as long as you understand the game, you just need to shoot their tanks a little bit and farm a really fast EMP. And I think that is a lot better than copying a tank, even if you're 10 times better at tanks than you are at Sombra. When playing against Echo against 6-man rush, Monkey, Diva, Sombra, Reaper, Lucio Moira, which hero is best to dupe other than Sombra? I think is probably the best. I kind of answered that with the last one, just because it's like a classic. But yeah, just copy Sombra. It's the best. It's really hard to copy Diva, Winston, Lucio Moira into that comp. Copying Reaper can be good. Copying Lucio can be good if everyone's low. You can get a beat really fast. But typically, I think Sombra's the best copy. When should you run Echo instead of Pharah? Is Echo a better pick over Pharah? I think in this meta, who knows what will happen in 6 months from now? Who knows what will happen when you're watching this video? But right now, I think Echo is a lot better of a pick than Pharah. A lot of times, Pharah, with her new rockets, they go really slow and you just don't have enough damage. But Echo has crazy damage, and you also don't need a Mercy Pocket. So anytime in current meta, just pick Echo. Maybe in future metas, Pharah will be better when you have a Mercy or something. But for now, just pick Echo. That'll conclude this video. Thank you everyone for watching. If you want to see more guides, make sure to subscribe, leave comments. I appreciate positive feedback a lot. This is my first guide ever, so yeah, just let me know what I can do better. I appreciate it a lot. Thanks for watching, everyone. Peace.